Is the Middle East about to explode? For weeks, rumors have been swirling online about the health of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He's 85 years old, and reports, though unconfirmed, suggest his health is failing. This isn't just about one man. It's about the future of a nation of 90 million people and the stability of an entire region. If Khamenei's era ends, what comes next? Will Iran plunge into chaos? And could that chaos drag the whole Middle East into a massive war? Today, we're breaking down what's really happening, who could take over, and what it all means for you. First, let's understand why Khamenei is so important. He isn't just a political leader, he's the supreme leader, the ultimate authority in Iran for over 3 decades. He controls the military, the judiciary, and has the final say on all major policies, from Iran's nuclear program to its foreign relations. His word is law. He has carefully constructed a system of power, balancing different political factions, while ensuring the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC, remains the true backbone of the regime. This powerful military force isn't just an army, it's a massive economic empire, controlling huge parts of Iran's economy. They answer directly to Khamenei, and their loyalty is key to his control. So when the supreme leader goes, a massive power vacuum opens up. The big question is, who fills it? Officially, a body called the Assembly of Experts is supposed to choose the next leader. This assembly is made up of 88 clerics, but in reality, the choice won't be that simple. The real decision will likely be made behind closed doors by the most powerful figures in the country, with the IRGC having a huge say. 2 main names keep popping up as potential successors. The first is Khamenei's own son, Mojtaba Khamenei. He's a mid-ranking cleric who has spent years in the shadows, working closely with his father and building deep connections within the IRGC and Iran's intelligence services. Appointing him would create something of a dynasty, which goes against the principles of the 1979 revolution. Many Iranians, even within the establishment, might see this as a betrayal, turning the Islamic Republic into a monarchy. This could spark massive protests and internal conflict. The other leading candidate is the current president, Ebrahim Raisi. He's a hardliner, known for his brutal record as a prosecutor. He's loyal to Khamenei and the system, and the establishment has been grooming him for years. However, Raisi is deeply unpopular with the Iranian people. He oversaw a violent crackdown on the woman life freedom protests, and his government has failed to fix the country's shattered economy. If he becomes the supreme leader, it could enrage millions of Iranians who see him as a symbol of the regime's oppression and incompetence. This is where things get really dangerous. A messy succession could be the spark that ignites a powder keg. Imagine a scenario where Mojtaba is appointed and the public erupts in protest, or Raisi takes over and the already simmering anger boils over into a full-blown uprising. The regime, fearing for its survival, would likely respond with even more brutal force than we've seen before. The IRGC would be unleashed on the streets, leading to a potential civil war. An unstable, chaotic Iran would send shockwaves across the Middle East. Let's look at the players. Iran has a network of proxy groups across the region, from Hezbollah in Lebanon to the Houthis in Yemen and various militias in Iraq and Syria. These groups depend on Iran for money, weapons, and direction. If a power struggle erupts in Tehran, who will control these proxies? Different factions within Iran might try to use them to gain an advantage, leading to unpredictable and reckless actions. Hezbollah might feel emboldened to attack Israel to distract from Iran's internal problems, or militias in Iraq could ramp up attacks on U.S. forces. This brings us to the regional powers. Saudi Arabia, Iran's main rival, would be watching very closely. While they recently restored diplomatic ties with Iran, they would see a moment of Iranian weakness as an opportunity. They might increase their support for anti-Iranian groups in the region to roll back Tehran's influence. This could turn proxy wars into direct confrontations. And then there's Israel. For years, Israel has seen Iran's nuclear program as an existential threat. A chaotic Iran might be seen as the perfect opportunity for a decisive military strike. If Israel believes the regime is about to collapse, or that a new, more radical leader might rush to build a nuclear bomb, they could decide to launch preemptive attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities. Such an attack would almost certainly trigger a massive response from Iran and its proxies, potentially starting a full-scale regional war that could draw in the United States. The United States would be in an incredibly difficult position. A war in the Middle East involving Iran would be a nightmare scenario. It would cause oil prices to skyrocket, cripple the global economy, and risk American lives. The U.S. would be pressured to defend its allies like Israel and Saudi Arabia. But getting dragged into another major conflict in the region is the last thing Washington wants. The challenge would be to contain the chaos without getting sucked into the vortex. So, will Khamenei's passing automatically lead to war? Not necessarily, but the risk is higher than it's been in decades. The most likely scenario is a period of intense instability. The best-case scenario is a relatively smooth transition to a new leader like Raisi, who manages to consolidate power quickly, even if it means more repression at home. The system would survive, but it would be weaker and more brittle. The worst-case scenario is a full-blown succession crisis. Factions within the IRGC could turn on each other, the Iranian people could rise up in a massive revolution, and the country could splinter. This is the scenario that keeps regional leaders and world powers up at night. A collapsing Iran would create a vacuum that terrorist groups could exploit, and it would make the current conflicts in the Middle East look like minor skirmishes. The key thing to watch is the IRGC. Will they remain a unified force, or will they fracture? If they stick together behind one candidate, they can probably manage the transition, at least in the short term. But if different commanders back different horses, the situation could spiral out of control very quickly. For the people of Iran, this is a moment of both great danger and potential hope. Decades of repression and economic mismanagement have left many desperate for change. The end of the Khamenei era could be the opportunity they have been waiting for to demand a different future. But it could also lead to a period of even greater violence and suffering. The path forward is incredibly uncertain. So, to sum it all up, the end of Khamenei's rule will undoubtedly be a turning point for Iran and the Middle East. It won't automatically mean war, but it dramatically increases the risk. A power struggle in Tehran could paralyze the regime, unleash its proxies, and tempt its enemies to strike. The world will be holding its breath, hoping for a stable transition, but preparing for the very real possibility of chaos. The next few months and years will be critical. Thanks for watching. What do you think will happen when Khamenei's era ends? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this analysis helpful, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Stay informed and stay safe.